And then I'm going to assign that section for homework then tonight. So like our homework for hopefully Monday is trying to finish the chapter 7 part of the review. So chapter 7, we had a green chart. And if you need any of these charts, like you're like, I don't have it, I'm sure one of your classmates do. Otherwise, I also have electronic versions of all these. So if you want me to just email it to you, if that's helpful, it just kind of goes through all the different types for you. So the first way we learned to solve systems, so remembering solving systems was where we found both an x and a y value. So we're trying to find the value that works for both, kind of trying to see what they have in common. So we're solving the first one by graphing. So remember, graphing, we use y equals mx plus b. It's been a while since we just graphed with y equals mx plus b. This first equation, I'm going to begin at b, which is -7. So I'm going to put a dot at -7. And then my slope is 2 over 1. So I'm going to go up 2 and over 1. And this is why we review, because you're probably like, oh my gosh, I forgot we did this because it was January. So there's our first line. Now our second line is y equals -1. That's one of those unique lines. Y equals -1 is just going to be a flat line at -1. So we'll draw that one on there as well. So by asking on the test to solve by graphing, this is what we're looking at doing here. So we graph that line horizontally, y equals -1. So our solution is where the two lines cross. So the answer would be, what is that? 3, -1. So x is 3, y would be -1. And know that on an exam, there's only going to be one question like this. So like, just be aware that it's not like you're like, oh, that was rough for me. Graphing, like, don't like think that's going to like make you fail the test. Obviously, being good at some things and not being good at others. Like, I mean, that's life. So knowing that this is something that we need to be able to do, and you know it's going to be on there. And you're going to do your best to do what you can with that. Okay? So that's solving by graphing. So that's our solution. And that was on our green chart. We explained how to do that. We're going to talk about solving by substitution and elimination as well. So our next one is substitution. And so solving by substitution is where we're replacing one variable with the other one. So y equals, we have 2x minus 5. And think about a substitute teacher. They step in, but they don't quite look like the teacher, but they're replacing them. It's going to replace the y with whatever the y equals. So we're going to replace y with 2x minus 5. So 5x minus 2, and then we're going to do parentheses, 2x minus 5, and that's going to equal 8. So what I just did there was I replaced the y with what I knew y equaled. And we're going to be able to solve that new equation. Okay. So we're going to distribute. So I distributed that -2 in. Careful that -2 times a -5 becomes a +10. I did pull some of these like this. Oh. And you can take some more if you need some from other students. But I have more. Oh. All right, 5x minus 4x is just going to be 1x. Guys, So we're going to move the 10 over. So x is going to end up being -2. So we found 1/2 the answer so far. So once I know what x is, we still need to go back and find our y value. But I know what x is, so I like using the equation I used to use the substitute. So I'm going to put it back into that top equation. 2 times -2 minus 5. So I'm putting that back in for my x to find my y. Questions there at all? So that's substitution. So again, each of these problems probably be only like one question on our test about it, but at the same time, we can't just say, well, I don't know how to do that, let's move along. I mean, if you keep saying that, then you're not going to know how to do anything. So get good at a few, like some of these, and don't stress about some of them. All right. Our next one is elimination, and I think a lot of you guys liked elimination. This is where we try to add the equations together to get something to cancel. So everything's nice and lined up here. The x's are lined up, the y's are lined up, and the number without a variable is lined up. But we need to make something cancel, one of the variables. And right now, nothing will cancel. 3x and 1x is 4x. -4 and 2 is a -2. So what do we want to multiply by to make something cancel? Does anyone see it? Hayden, usually you're good at finding this. What can we multiply by to make something cancel in example 4? -1 won't work in this one, because this would just become, we want it to be the opposite number as well. Anyone see it? Yeah. What's that? Yeah, we can do times 2. The reason we do times 2 is because then this middle one would be a 4x or 4y, and then it'd be the opposite sign. So we can multiply everything by 2. You could have also done -3 would have worked as well. So now we're ready to add these equations together. And when we do that, the y's are going to end up canceling. But I'm going to add the x's, so 3x and 2x is going to be 5x. The y's again will cancel. Uh, 10 minus 14. Oh, that's not a very nice number. -4. All right, so we're going to divide. So not the greatest answer in the world. -4/5 is a -0.8. Eek. Unless someone sees something else I did wrong, but I don't see anything. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take that and substitute it back in to find the other variable. So I'm going to put it back into this equation for x. I do not think there's any on the test that end up being awful numbers like this, so I apologize, but we're going to move this 0.8 over. And then we'll divide. Not too bad of a number. So that's our elimination. So we're going to finish up the bottom 2 questions on the page, and then we'll be done for today. Again, what I'm going to assign for homework tonight is just the chapter 7 part of the review. The review has everything in it, so it's a giant packet because it's your homework for the next week. But you only have to, I want you to try to work on chapter 7 alone, but if you want to work ahead, if you're just like, I'm going to keep going on this, what I would suggest though, as you're going through it, anything that you don't remember how to do or you don't think you'll be able to do off the top of your head, that's something I would put on my note card. So, and as much as like the note card initially maybe feels like small, once you start kind of writing things small on here, you have 5 different chapters, basically. I think actually 4, but if you kind of write in a small way, I think you can get a lot of information on here. Like I see Jason writing really small, and he's got a whole chunk already written down in just the corner there. So if you're kind of strategic about that, and you can use both sides. All right, so our next one is graphing the linear inequalities. There's quite a few things we want to be careful about here with our graphing linear inequalities. We want to make sure we're able to graph and shade. So remember, this is where we have a dotted versus solid line. So we need to shade a side of the line. This is where we like use highlighters or colored part of the side of the line. We shade the side that works. And I want to remind you guys that when you multiply or divide by a negative, we have to flip the inequality. So for example 5 here, we want to get this y alone. So we're going to do y equals mx plus b still. So we're going to divide by this -2. And I'm going to divide everything by -2. Since I'm dividing by a negative, I have to flip the inequality. So it's going to switch the direction the inequality is facing. Now, bless you. There's a 1 in front of the x, so this is a -1/2 x, and then -4, because it's 8 over -2. So we're going to begin at -4, put a dot there, and our slope is a -1/2. So we're going to go down 1 and over 2. But I'm not going to draw a solid line because it has that inequality that doesn't have the equal to. So I'm going to kind of just put dots in between here. So I went to -4, down 1 over 2. All right, so what we need to do now is this is where we do a test point. Or you can also use a little bit of logic with this. This is saying y is less than this. Less would be down, so I could just color down. So I'm assuming I'm going to color down here. But if you don't really trust that part of it, because you have to look at the original or the new equation, we can test 0, 0. So if I test 0, 0, we see if that works in our equation. So I do 0 is less than half of 0 is just 0. -4 is 0 less than -4. It's not. So what we're going to do is we're going to color the other side that I was anticipating coloring based off the way the equation's written. So if you don't need to test a point, that's perfectly fine with me. Either way is fine, long as you get the right side colored. Okay? Now our next one is a system of equations. And what that means is we're going to have 2 colors, and they're going to have like the overlapping colors, and where they overlap is our solution. So we're going to start with this equation. This one doesn't have a b, so that means b is 0. So we're going to start at 0. My slope is 4 over 1. So I'm going to go up 4 and over 1. But this one's going to be a solid line because it has that equal to line on it. Now it's saying y is greater than, so I think I'm going to shade up. So I would think I'm going to shade kind of on this left side over here, but that's kind of hard to tell when the line's so steep. So we're going to test 1, 1. Guys, make sure we're focused here. We're going to test 1, 1. So we're going to get 1 is greater than or equal to 4 times 1. 1 is greater than or equal to 4. That's not true. So I'm going to shade the other side of the line, the sign that I thought I was going to shade, which is over here. Okay. Now the other equation is the unique one. It's x only. So that means the y only is a flat line. The x only is a vertical line. So we're going to make a line at -1. And it's going to be a vertical line, but it's going to be dotted. Sorry. Anytime I use the highlighter tool on this, it gets weird. So it's like real punchy now. All right. So this is saying x is less than -1. Less would be left in my opinion, so I think I'm coloring the left side. Again, we can test 1, 1 and see if it works. Is 1 less than -1? No. So that means that side doesn't work. So we're going to shade the other side. We're going to shade here. So the overlapping part would be that green part. It's like almost the whole left side of the graph. So, what we're going to do, just keep setting stuff down. Tonight is trying to get through the chapter 7 part of this. Which only looks like numbers 1 through 4, but each of them have 2 parts, but really then it's only 8 questions. So chapter 7 is what's going to be due out of this packet. So again, I asked you guys try to hang on to this packet and the one you just got. So the notes packet and the review packet. We're going to try to get through chapter 7 for homework for Monday. But if you want to work ahead at all, or if you don't get to something, like something, know that you just have more to do the next time then, or less to do the next time, depending on how you work it.
I know this.
I think I might have passed out too many to the middle here. I don't know. Oh no, there's more back there. Alright, so you're trying to get through those first 4 questions, which kind of deceiving because there's a part A and B to each of them, so basically the first 8 questions. And Miss Miller, I don't think I've posted this